Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the webinar series of the Italian Cultural Institute of New York. My name is Paolo Barlera. I'm the interim director of the Institute. And it is my pleasure to introduce tonight the World Week of Italian Cuisine in the World, Settimana della Cucina Italiana nel Mondo. At this time of year, we usually organize very nice events with wine tasting and food tasting, but this year we can't do that, and we have to rely on distance events, webinars, and conversation and presentations. And we decided to focus on the concept of cooking classes because with the lockdowns and all the limitations that we've had this year, we have rediscovered some aspects of online teaching that we didn't know or that we overlooked before. So we try to look at that, to look at food and wine through the lens of online classes. And to do that, we have the pleasure of having tonight an online and when things are normal, real cooking classes called Local Aromas. And joining us to talk about it are the two founders of the company, Benedetta and Valeria Bianchini, who are joining us from Rome in Italy. And I want to thank them for accepting our invitation to be part of the week of Italian cuisine. Welcome and
thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would like to start with some information about you. When did you start? Why did you start? Why don't you tell us a little about it?
Benny, you want to start?
Okay, so let's start with a little bit of history because people, you know, we're Italian and they hear us speak English and they're like, no, you're not Italian, but we are 100% Italian. We just had the fortune of living 18 years abroad thanks to our dad's job. So in the countries where we lived in, back in the days, there were no Italian schools. So our parents put us in an English speaking kindergarten, and so that's how we continued all the way to 12th grade. But at home, it was all Italian. I mean, we breathed, we ate, we drank Italian. Our mom is an incredible chef. She's an amazing cook. And so she really did keep Italian tradition alive.
And then every year we would come back for the holidays, for everything. And as we grew up, when we graduated from college, or from school, actually, from high school, we came back to Italy. And then we both went on into doing our things, and we gradually found what we like to do the best, which was tourism and hospitality, which we have an experience of about 25 years.
Put together.
Combined. and so this is how we gradually understood that we had something to share with others. You know, we are locals. We, in the meantime, we both specialized in what we love the most. So Benedetta, she became a wine sommelier and olive oil sommelier. She is a professional cheese taster. I became a trained pastry chef. And so with our family, with the support of our parents, they're like, let's share this with people. Let's share our culture through cooking classes, food tours, wine tastings, so that we as locals can share what is part of our passion and our expertise. And that is how in 2016, that's how we launched our company, Local Aromas.
And let me ask you just out of curiosity, Local Aromas plays with the name of the city you are in, if I'm not mistaken, or is it just a coincidence?
Well, it sort of started because creating the name did take a while, but then Local Aromas is, and you'll see throughout also, we firmly believe that there is no such thing as Italian food. And so local aromas are the local aromas of the place that you are. So in that case, Roma played sort of together, but the real concept was the aromas of the local place that you're in. That's how it originally started.
Okay. So let's now take a look at one of your video clips, which is a general presentation of local aromas.
For us Italians, food is so much more than just food. It's who we are. It represents our culture and our history, and dare you to touch our recipes because we can get quite dramatic about that.
And there is a reason for this. Up until about 150 years ago, when Italy actually became a country, we were a patchwork of regions, and each region has a very, very strong cultural identity. Italians are very fond of their origins, and this genuine diversity is what we want you to experience when you come to Italy.
Italy is about local food, local dishes, local ingredients, local experiences. And that's why we called our company Local Aromas, because we want to stay true to that genuine diversity that Italy is, and we want you to have the most authentic local experience.
Local Aromas is a family business run by the Bianchini family. I am Benedetta. I am a wine sommelier, an olive oil sommelier, and a professional cheese taster. Tough, I know, but I love what I do.
I am Valeria, and pastry is what I love the most. And I love it so much that I went back to school and I became a trained pastry chef.
I'm Giuliana. I love to cook, and almost everything I know I learned from my grandmother. I've been a full-time mom, and I enjoy to cook for my family and friends.
Thanks to our dad's job, we had the wonderful opportunity to travel the world and live abroad. We grew up in countries like Thailand, Belgium, Venezuela, and Chile.
I'm Riccardo. I work for Alitalia, the Italian Airlines. We lived 18 wonderful years abroad.
At some point, we realized that our passion and knowledge for Italy's food and wine was so strong that we just couldn't keep it to ourselves. So together as a family, we decided to create our own company, Local Aromas.
Everything we know and our passion is reflected in all that we offer. Food tours, wine tastings, olive oil tastings, cooking classes. Remember that there is no such thing as Italian food. Our food is local and you deserve to experience it in the best way possible.
When you join our experiences, you become part of Local Aromas family. We treasure each and every one of you as part of our family.
This is family.
Welcome to Italy.
Welcome to the Bianchini family.
Welcome to the Local Aromas family.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always touching to see that video.
It is. It is.
So let's start talking about food now. One of the themes of the week of the Italian cuisine in the world is the safeguard and the safeguard of local ingredients, of healthy ingredients. From just looking at your website and looking at things that you are communicating, it seems that you're placing a lot of attention on ingredients. Can you?
Yes.
Something about?
Because, well, you know, we're in Rome, and so there are some ingredients that are very Roman, and the two that just pops to your mind when you think of Rome, at least to us, is pecorino romano, which is an aged sheep cheese, and guanciale, which is it's a how do you call it, Benny? It's a
Pork jowl. It's the
pork jowl
on the neck of the pork.
Exactly, which are the main ingredients of the 4 Roman pastas, which are, Benny?
Which are, just so you know, cacio e pepe, gricia, carbonara, and amatriciana. And I wanted to show you this because just to really understand. You see this? Can you see this letter Y?
It's a Y.
It's a Y. So that's the beauty of Italian cuisine. So at the bottom we have cacio e pepe, which is just sheep cheese and pepper. Then we go up a notch, we add guanciale and it becomes gricia. And then it divides. Addition of egg, carbonara. The other side, tomatoes, you have a matriciana. Basic few ingredients. That's why we pay so much attention on the quality of the ingredients, because it's true that Roman cuisine wants few ingredients, but they have to be very top quality. So yes, we are very obsessed with the quality of the ingredients and of the main things that we use in everything.
And you know, there's also fresh produce. You've got the zucchine romane, which are they have like this zucchini flour on top, or you have the Roman artichokes and they all transform into very local dishes. So you've got the Roman artichokes that you can make, you know, the famous carciofi alla giudia.
And carciofi alla romana.
And carciofi alla romana, exactly. And it's just these that local ingredients that you find, and that Italians really do pay attention, Romans, but everybody does pay attention to the quality of the ingredients that they get.
Because they do make the world of a difference.
Oh, yes.
Totally.
Okay. So let's, at this point, we can take a look at the presentation of one of your pastas, which I believe is cacio e pepe.
Sì. Let's start.
Hi, I'm Valeria from Local Aromas in Italy, and I'm here with my sister Benedetta because today we're making tonnarelli, cacio and pepe, which is one of the 4 Roman pastas.
Tonnarelli cacio e pepe literally translates to this particular kind of pasta, cheese and pepper. It is a super simple recipe because it just calls for 2 ingredients, but simple does not mean easy. So we're going to show you how to master this to perfection.
First part of the recipe is water. You put a cold water in a pan to boil, and there's a little trick that we like to add. You get pepper grains and you put them in the boiling water and you let it boil for a bit so that all the flavors of the pepper just gently mixes with the water. And after it boils for a bit, you take a scoop of the boiling water and you leave it to rest, because it doesn't have to be boiling hot. It has to be warm for the second part of the recipe.
This putting the water aside when you make pasta is always super important in any dish, but in this dish particularly, it's even more important. So then you take a nice bowl and you add in the pecorino cheese. You gradually, and I say gradually because what you are looking to get is a sauce that is not nor too dense nor too liquidy.
It has to be a thick cream.
So you gradually add in the water and you turn and you turn and you turn and you turn. Now, this is the hard way to do it, but since I'm lazy, you can also use one of those immersion blenders to sort of blend. So you keep adding the water and it's going to blend until you get this delicious, incredible, delicious cream. Grind pepper and then you mix it, and then...
And you set this aside. When the water is already boiling, you get the tonnarelli.
May I interrupt you?
Yes.
No, it's important because you learn by your mistakes. Remember to take the black pepper away from the water before you toss in the pasta. If not, you're going to have these bits of hard pepper inside your mouth. Continue.
Thank you. Tonnarelli is a very Roman pasta, great for this recipe. If not, you can use spaghetti, but the kind of pasta you want is a long pasta. So you put the pasta in the boiling water. It boils and you have to strain it al dente.
Yes, please.
Al dente. And this is the tricky part.
You toss it inside and you start turning. If you think you need a little bit more water, you're gonna add it in, a little bit more pecorino cheese. You just want it to be thick, rich, delicious. Last touch, you grind a little bit more, I'm never gonna get this word right.
No.
You're gonna grind a little bit more pepper and then just enjoy it.
Immediately. You need to eat this nice and warm, and so simply enjoy your tonnarelli, cacio and pepe.
Starts getting our appetite.
Yes.
And you see, you know, going back to what we were saying before, how simple, just here you're actually just using pecorino cheese and just a little pepper. And
That's
so
it. No cream. I've read somewhere that people add cream, no cream, just pecorino cheese and pepper and warm water from the pasta without the pepper grains.
Speaking of ingredients, you have a couple of videos in your collection that are entitled Ingredients Italians Can't Live Without, and Ingredients that Italians Always Hated, or something like that.
Vale.
That sounds curious. What
yeah,
are those?
well, there are some ingredients that, I mean, if they Italians couldn't live without, like you would have like mozzarella, which is part of so many things. And there's
Tomatoes.
There's what?
Tomatoes.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that, you know, we created this series on our YouTube channel about ingredients is because every ingredient just has like such a huge story to tell, and tomatoes and potatoes are two of them. And the potatoes are the ones that the Italians hated because it took potatoes and tomatoes over 300 years when they were brought, because they're not originally from Italy. So, you know, when they were brought to Europe, it took in the 1500s, it took about 300 years for people to really begin using them because they thought it was poisonous. They thought they were, you know, they had diseases, or the tomatoes were used just for ornaments. And so there's actually so many stories that each ingredient has.
And from ricotta to guanciale to eggplants to all ingredients that then have become, you know, they sort of, you know, it wasn't easy for them, or they were created in a particular way, and now they're now we couldn't live without them.
Yeah. I actually read that tomatoes, it took them several decades to enter the kitchens of Italians. At the beginning, they were thought to be a medicinal plant.
Exactly. Actually, like several centuries before, you know, just sometimes it was just for desperation, people then used them.
Because they were starving, and so they said, you know, if we have to die, we might as well die by eating something. So let's just poison ourselves. And then they're like, oh, this is good. And that's how it's become part of.
Yeah, exactly what you were saying.
Yeah. Speaking of tomatoes, let's move on to the next question. When we think of Italian food, most of the times we think about regional foods, you know, Neapolitans and Emilia-Romagna and Sicily and Rome. And there are several recipes that also tell a story of particular region or areas that are connected with that dish. For example, amatriciana. What is your interpretation of amatriciana? And what other consideration can you make about the region of Rome as opposed to Naples and Tuscany, for example, the two other great traditions?
A fun story about amatriciana, when you said the interpretation. Now, amatriciana gives no space for interpretation, because there is actually a deposited recipe of how the amatriciana has to be made. And you don't play around with it. There's no garlic added. There's no onion added. I mean, who has tried to has been literally had to apologize publicly in television for having messed up a recipe that has been so special for so many years. And like that, there are recipes in each region, in each city that identify them. And so they're so part of their culture that you do not want to mess with them. Like I don't know what comes to mind. Like in Tuscany, Lampredotto, like the amatriciana here, la carbonara also. Like you would not think of having carbonara anywhere else if not in Rome, right, Vale?
Exactly. And then that is one of the things, when that we always tell people when they come and they travel to Italy, it is important since, food is culture, and that is what we do. What we do is literally, we share Italian culture through food and wine. So something that we always say is, when you visit the different Italian regions and the different Italian towns, you should have what they prepare there. So like if you're going to Venice, there is no reason for you to have pizza, because you would want to have pizza in Rome, or you have pizza in Naples, and if you go to Florence, why have a lasagna? And that is part of learning about the culture, about the ingredients, because those ingredients are there because they grew in that climate. They come from that soil, and that is why they tell a story of the place and the dishes. And so you're eating the culture and you're drinking the culture.
Exactly. Like for example, it happened so many times, and we have our guests and they're like, where can we have the best pesto in Rome? You have to go to Genoa to have pesto. I mean, pesto, which might sound like something, so even the basil has a different flavor, because it goes into, without getting so much into big words, like Valeria said, like the territory, the terroir, the soil, the sand, the breeze. I mean, everything is so special. So you don't have pesto in Rome. You go to Genoa.
What can we do here in New York? Can we try?
I'll come to Rome.
You can try your best.
No, I mean, obviously you can have anything you want. And there are nowadays, with transportation and chefs moving around, they can replicate that. We're just being very
Italian.
If you come to Italy, this is how it should be. Abroad, thank goodness now, you can get ingredients everywhere.
But yes, because it's a pity to have, people come to a country like Italy, and I mean, we want them to learn, to have the best experience possible. And so the best experience possible is to eat and drink genuinely in the place that they visit. And that's the magic of it all.
Hi, I'm Valeria from Local Aromas in Italy, and I'm here with my sister Benedetta, and we are going to be making pasta alla matriciana. The recipe we're using is the original recipe authorized by Amatrice. So this is the recipe.
Amatriciana is the only Roman pasta that is made with tomato sauce. Super special. One of the most important ingredients is guanciale, which is pork jowl. You may use pancetta if you do not find guanciale. It will not be the same, but it's better than nothing.
Yes.
So you cut it in stripes. You want it in stripes because you want fat, meat, fat. This is super important in the texture of the pasta. Once it's all cut in stripes, you put a little bit of olive oil in a pan. When it's hot, you toss in a piece of chili pepper. I was about to forget it. Of chili pepper, and then you put in the guanciale. Magic then happens. The guanciale, the fat turns translucent, and then it turns into crunchiness, and it is to die for.
When it turned brown, you add a dry white wine in the hot pan. And once that evaporates, you take out the guanciale and you set it aside so the excess oil just drips off, and you add the tomato sauce into the hot pan.
With all the flavors.
With all the flavors. Just a few minutes, you don't have to overcook it. Once that is done, you take out the chili and you put the guanciale back.
Imagine that this is something that you could be preparing while the pasta is cooking. So, literally 10 minutes, not more than that. In the meantime, you put a pot of cold water on the fire. As soon as it boils, you add a little bit of salt. Again, we're going to be using pecorino cheese. So do not exaggerate with the salt, because pecorino, however, is super flavorful. You don't want to exceed in that.
For the pasta, you can use spaghetti. We're going to be using rigatoni. So once the water in the pan goes to a boil, you add a little bit of salt, put the pasta in the water. It cooks al dente, which is about 2 minutes less than the time it says on the package. You drain the pasta. You drain the pasta?
You drain the pasta.
You drain the pasta. And you put it into your tomato amatriciana sauce. And you just mix it, mix it, mix it. And you should be adding some more grated pecorino cheese.
Because that's what you want. Now, don't put the pecorino cheese as soon as you pour the pasta in because it's too hot and the pecorino could coagulate. You don't want that. So you just wait a while and then you add more pecorino cheese, even more pecorino cheese if you want, even more pecorino cheese, a little bit of pepper.
And a glass of red wine.
Of course. And a glass of red wine. My hands are all oily, that's why I'm not touching her. And then just enjoy it. And
enjoy it. Yeah, because it's your delicious plate of pasta alla matriciana.
Someone is asking if you can give some information about your website.
Yes, absolutely. Our company is called Local Aromas. So on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube, you can find us at Local Aromas. Our company the website is localaromas.com. And we have also created an online cooking school, and where we share this and a lot more, which is courses.localaromas.com. So everything is, if you look for Local Aromas, a whole bunch of stuff is going to come out. Yes. And it's great, you know, I'll just keep on talking.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go from regional to global and globalization. And this is the week of the World Week of the Italian cuisine. We're trying to bring, if there is a need, we're trying to bring even more Italian food around the world. Your classes are in English. Why? And what is your audience?
Well, so when we were deciding, we decided to do the classes in English because English at the end of the day is the global language. However, everybody speaks English. We, however, have guides. I mean, privately, we can do any other language. We have, you know, French, Spanish, Portuguese. We've also done something in Japanese. So we offer our experiences also to foreigners that do not speak English in other languages. But English, because at the end of the day, it's everybody sort of knows how to speak English. And yeah, our clients mostly are Americans and English, Australians a lot, but I would say 95% from the US.
Yes, US and Canada.
And you remember the song about Roma, Arrivederci Roma?
Yes.
Right. And there is, at one point, there is a list of things that the singer is bringing with him or her back to England. I guess that was the setup. What kind of food experience or wine experience do you think that foreigners take away from Rome?
Well, I would say that when people come, there are two like big categories of people. You have the foreigners that come, and they're very knowledgeable of the ingredients, of the wine that they want to drink, of the actual dishes that you have in the place. Others, they have an idea of Italian food, which, because it's funny because there's in outside of Italy, there is a lot of Italian, famous Italian, non-Italian food and dishes. You know, we do not have certain dishes. And so when they come to Rome, when they come to Italy, they ask us, you know, we're going to have the best fettuccine Alfredo. And it's just like, we don't have it. Or chicken parmigiana, we don't have that. And so I would say a lot of the people that then have our experiences, or then they come to Italy and and they are surprised, which is also why we decided to create our YouTube channel, because, you know, we have had the opportunity to be in touch and in person, but then we also wanted to share more with people who weren't physically in Italy, or people who were planning to travel to Italy. And so, you know, how do you drink coffee? When do you drink cappuccino? All these things.
When not to drink cappuccino.
When not to drink cappuccino. Exactly. All things that, you know, are probably obvious for locals. Obviously, they're not obvious for non-locals, because it's part of our culture, not theirs. And so we just wanted to make sure that some people, you know, they had like very useful local insights, you know, because it hurts me when I know that people had just like with those terrible industrial gelatos, thinking that that was like the localist gelato in Rome. That just like, for me, it's just like painful, because they just left without an authentic part of our culture. And supplì, not to mention a lot of dishes, porchetta. You know, we get very excited when we talk about these things.
We do, because it's such a, I mean, people invest money, time, hope. They travel to the other side, you know, of the world. They come here, they have such expectations. And then sometimes you hear them say, oh, you know, but, you know, the food, or if not, we used to have them, like the cooking class was like the final event of their holiday. And I'm like, did you have supplì? And they're like, what's a supplì? I'm like, did you have a matriciana? No. What is a matriciana? So we're like, you have to stay longer. I mean, you cannot leave without having a supplì. I mean, you just cannot. Or have the best gelato that is actually gelato. Because my sister, with that little angel face, you don't want to go have gelato with her, nor coffee, because she's a trained pastry chef. When we were creating our tours, it was embarrassing to go around with her, because she knew what to feel. And so she knew what the right things. And I'm very grateful to her for this, because I learned.
That's the first time you say it, Benny. Thank you.
You're welcome. Because because, you know, I don't, if I cannot have the best gelato that I know that is really good, I won't have gelato. And it has become a problem having a coffee outside, because I look at all the things that they should do to make it correct, which I would have never paid attention to before, thanks to her.
I think that a lot has to do with street food, or what you know, tourists can sample by walking by the streets of Rome. And since supplì was mentioned a couple of times just now, I think maybe we should try to show something about supplì.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Valeria, and she is my sister Benedetta.
And we are from Local Aromas in Rome. And today we are going to help you fall in love with the king of Roman street food. Andiamo a mangiare?
Of course. Let's go eat. What are you having?
I would like the supplì classico.
Due
Abbiamo
classici li
fame.
mangiamo qui e poi portiamo via cacio e pepe, carbonara e amatriciana.
Perfetto, li faccio fare subito.
Ok.
Ecco i vostri due classici.
Grazie.
Classici. Wonderful. Let's start.
So this is the supplì. It's the king of Roman street food. It is an oval ball of rice cooked in ragu sauce. Then it's dipped in egg, and then it's dipped in breadcrumbs, and then it's fried. And the wonderful thing is that inside there is a surprise.
Because there's a surprise from the French word surprise, because this actually dates back to the 1800s, when there were French soldiers that were that they would have supplì in on the streets, and when they opened it, they would have this wonderful surprise. So supplì is actually a French word from surprise.
The Roman style supplì, and it's called supplì al telefono because, well, for all you youngers out there, back in the days, I'm making a mess here, the telephones had a cord, so this is what it is. It's actually a supplì talking on the phone with each other, and it's delicious. That I just made a disaster out of myself.
got it.
And you can have supli. You have this throughout the day. It's the street food. It is absolutely the street food. And you can either have it in places that make supli alone, or you can also have them in places where they make pizza by the slice. And supli you can also have it at the restaurant
as an appetizer. Yeah.
But you only have it in Rome, so make sure you have supli when you come to Rome.
What we have here is the classical ones, but nowadays they have them with the typical four Roman sauces, which are carbonara, gricia, and cacio e pepe. So you might as well try them all because they're all delicious.
But we actually ordered carbonara, cacio e pepe, because since we're here, why not eat them all?
Exactly. Calorie more, calorie less.
Look at this.
It's red, so it is
Amatriciana.
Let's see. Ooh, this you have little black pepper. This is cacio e pepe, which is another typical of the four Roman pastas, which is just pecorino cheese and pepper. Carbonara. Look at that.
Carbonara is made with eggs, guanciale, pecorino, and pepper.
Exactly. And now we're just gonna have to eat them all. Tough job.
I just want to make a point. When you come to Rome, you have to, and you cannot leave Rome without trying a supli.
I agree.
You start with a classic version with tomato sauce and the heart of mozzarella, and then play around with the versions of the Roman pastas. So it would be supli with carbonara, or supli with cacio e pepe, supli with gricia.
Yeah.
Just play around and taste them all.
But be aware, red lights, just big notice. Supli has to be eaten on the moment. It has to be fried and eaten, has to be warm. So if you ask for a supli and you see them stick the supli in the microwave, you just say bye-bye and you leave.
No.
It's a no. Because it has to be crunchy on the outside, and then you have a bite, and then you have the mozzarella inside that just threads, and it's just magic. You agree?
Oh, totally agree.
Yeah, so with those tips, you will surely enjoy the great supli of Rome.
I miss that.
Oh, I know.
It's also connected to supplizio, isn't it? As you showed in the last slide of the video.
Yes, when we did our first series, we would go out and about Rome, and so they were very nice to open their kitchens for us, and so that's where we had our supplizio.
Yeah, and it's just personally it's incredible supli. Yeah, and supli with cacio e pepe, incredible.
It is, because that's what they do. Because I see somebody asking rice and cacio e pepe. So that is what we do in Rome. You will find pizza with the topping of cacio e pepe, of gricia, amatriciana. That is allowed. You know, you can get creative. We don't have to be too strict. But when you're trying to make the traditional dish, then you try to make it traditionally. But obviously, the chefs have their creativity, and they have brought the four Roman sauces into supli and on top of pizzas.
Continuing talking about the international aspect of these classes and Roman food around the world, you had the opportunity also of collaborating with people from around the world, with bloggers, with food writers, which is something very nice if you think about it in the context of the week of the Italian cuisine in the world. Can you tell us a little more about what you've done?
Yes. Well, before the pandemic, there's something that I personally have always wanted to do. When it's Christmas time, I love the Advent calendar. So last year we said, okay, so for Christmas 2020, we're gonna launch our very first physical Advent calendar. But then we had to get creative, and so we turned that physical into an online Advent calendar, and we joined forces because we love to collaborate with other passionate and foodies like we are, and so we created an online Italian calendar of Advent calendar, which is all about traditional Italian recipes, and each recipe has been Italian Christmas recipes, and each recipe has been paired to an Italian wine. So we reached out to people that we actually really like their work. We've reached out to international food bloggers. So we have a Canadian Italian food blogger. We have a Canadian Italian author who writes cookbooks. And, you know, we have an Italian, we have an English who lives in Italy and who has specialized and has spent many years of her life studying pasta. And they each contributed in the Advent calendar with 4 different recipes. Then, of course, you have us, the Foodie sisters, and our mom, because our mom is a big part of this project, Mama Giuliana. And we put together, so it's a very global project at the end of it. You know, it's a very global, local project, which is our very first online Advent calendar about Italian Christmas recipes.
It's beautiful.
Do you think you can try to show it to us, or
yes,
is it too complicated?
Let me show you. I would probably have to, can I screen share? Let me see if I can screen share. Yes, here it is. Okay, can you see it? Yes.
Yes.
And we're not going to give away, because an Advent calendar is exciting, but we are going to show you. These are the ambassadors, our mom, our wine sommelier, 2 of our chefs of Local Aromas. These are the food bloggers and the authors that have contributed in creating this incredible Advent calendar. And I will share with you one of the recipes. You cannot see them because that's part of the excitement, but there is one that we decided to share.
Well, that's the magic of the Advent calendar. You open day by day.
Yes, yes. But this is so that you can see how they are structured. Every day is structured in the same way. So what we have is an introduction of what that dish is. Then you have a little personal comment from the author of the dish. Any tips or suggestions that they make to prepare the dish, the ingredients, the procedure. Then, since there are a lot of pictures, we created a PDF that you can download and you can print. And so basically you're creating a little Italian Christmas cookbook. And finally, there is our wine sommelier who suggests and explains why this kind of wine pairs perfectly with the dish that is suggested. And so this is the whole spirit of the Advent calendar that we have created.
Very nice.
Thank you. It was very fun to put together.
It was fun. It was a fun project.
Yes. Another aspect of Rome that has an international, or so to speak, international flavor is Jewish cuisine. Although it has been part of Roman life for thousands of years, of course. Let's look at a video, a clip that you did in the Ghetto of Rome, and then we'll talk a little bit about that.
Hi, I'm Benedetta from Local Aromas in Italy, and I'm here with my sister Valeria.
We're about to have one of my personal favorite Roman pastries.
And follow us because we're going to take you to the place where it originated.
Buongiorno.
Allora, prendiamo abbiamo una crostata di ricotta e viscera. Do you want to split?
Yes, I would say definitely.
What we're having, it's called crostata di ricotta e viscera, and it's a tart which is stuffed with ricotta and sour cream. It is a pastry which is typical of...
And sour cherries.
What did I say?
Sour cream.
Sour cherries, exactly. And grazie mille. I'll show you. Look. It is stuffed. It's delicious and it's traditional of the Roman Jewish cuisine. So just consider that we are at the Jewish ghetto, and the Jewish community of Rome is probably the oldest in the world. They settled here like over 2,000 years. So throughout the centuries, this is an evolution. They came up with their own very local cuisine, the Roman Jewish, which has its traditions, it has the history of the Jewish ghetto and the local ingredients of Rome.
They have an incredible cuisine. But now let's sort of explain. Can you hold the tray, please, instead of eating? So what we have here is a dough, a pastry that is first cooked in the oven by itself. So you have the cup that is cooked by itself, and then once it's taken out of the oven, it's cooled down, they put this layer of sour cherries and ricotta cheese made with cow's milk. And then they cover it, and then they stick it in the oven again. And you get this it's just unique because you have the bitterness of the cherries with the creaminess of the ricotta.
It's delicious. And unlike traditional Italian crostate tarts, this is covered. Do you know why it's covered?
Are you going to tell me? No, I have no idea.
Of course I'm going to tell you.
No idea why.
The reason it's covered is because apparently in the 1700s, a papal decree forbid the Jews to sell any dairy product to the Christians. So, Italians are very smart. And what
So
did they
covered
do?
it.
They covered it. They put it in a pastry and they covered a tart, and so nobody would notice. And this is the reason why it is covered. And so when you come to Rome, you absolutely have to.
Because it's just a Roman, you just have it here, and it's really worth the ride. You guys have to give us credit. I mean, we Italians have such a creative way to solve problems, right?
Yes, and thanks to the Jewish community for solving their problem in such a delicious way.
Gosh, I had that the other day. I'm just
You
like,
did?
Yes, I went there and I bought a whole bunch.
It's the crust made with butter. We had the privilege of going inside the kitchen, but we were not.
But yes, Penny, it's a pastry crust.
Oh, it's a pastry crust, so yes, it's made with butter. Oops. No, I could talk about olive oil, but not about pastry.
But tell me something, are these things, you can only get them in the ghetto, or are there other places in Rome where they make them?
You can find them in Rome because now it has become part of the Roman culture, but it actually is, if you go in the Jewish ghetto, because the Jewish ghetto is actually a very, very, very small neighborhood. So there are like two places that you would probably go and have them. You can obviously find them. You can find them in other places in Rome. But also because where we went, obviously it's kosher. And so they were explaining how, even the ricotta is different than according to, their dietary restrictions. It's different from the ricotta that we have, because ricotta is a byproduct of cheese in Italy. It's called a ricotta, which means that it's recooked, right, Benny? She is
yes,
expert.
Yes, and because the leftover way, the cheese is reheated, and then you get ricotta, so it's a byproduct.
And this specific tart had the ricotta made according to the dietary restrictions, which is made with it's like cheese. It's not recooked, and so it just has a different flavor. You can find it in Rome, but if you can, you just stretch over to the Jewish ghetto.
It's like having a matriciana in somewhere else in the world. You know, you can, in Rome, it tastes better. Same.
Let me go through the last question before looking at what our audience is asking. And the question has to do with your teaching experience. How did you cope with the lockdown and the restrictions about in-presence classes? Do you enjoy online classes? Because you also had online classes before the lockdown, didn't you?
So physical online classes, yes. When we do them live, you know, we are very Italians. You know, we love to. There's certain things that you cannot transmit, like olive oil or the smell of the aroma of a wine. There are certain things that on a live is very limited, because you can't go really in depth in first of all sharing the same. I mean, what I might smell is something completely different than what the person on the other side of the world on a screen can smell. And so that is a limit. But then you also have the ability through a screen to transmit pasta making or gnocchi making or creating dishes that, okay, they're not going to be exactly the same, but however, we bring a little bit of Italy to the other side of the world. And that is, however, something very special.
That is the potential, because yes, when we started our company, it was all about in-person experience. And then, you know, we always think that challenges bring a lot of opportunities. So we've wanted to, the first step that we took towards sharing this was, you know, with a YouTube channel. And now what the pandemic has allowed us to do is to work on a project that we have always had in our heart and in our mind, was to create an online cooking school. Because again, you know, not everybody has the opportunity to come to Rome and do cooking classes with us. And
yes,
we wanted to give the opportunity for people everywhere in the world to have classes. So, you know, we've created very specific classes on fresh homemade pasta, egg pasta, gnocchi. You know, it's a world. And the difference is that in online classes, it's about cooking, but it's also a lot about having fun. With our online courses, which in our cooking school, they are on demand. So, you know, you can purchase your course and you could just watch it regardless of the jet lag and your schedule and everything like that. Then we also do organize in like Zoom cooking classes upon request with us. You can have a wine tasting, an olive oil tasting. We have 3 amazing chefs, and one of which is our mom, and we can do anything customized that we can do, absolutely. And that's what we have been also doing.
Okay. So I think now we should, before opening the 2 questions from the others, we should go back to the video we were not able to see before, which is the Amatriciana.
Amatriciana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Valeria from Local Aromas in Italy, and I'm here with my sister Benedetta, and we are going to be making pasta alla matriciana. The recipe we're using is the original recipe authorized by Amatrice. So this is the recipe.
Amatriciana is the only Roman pasta that is made with tomato sauce. Super special. One of the most important ingredients is guanciale, which is pork jowl. You may use pancetta if you do not find guanciale. It will not be the same, but it's better than nothing.
Yes.
So you cut it in stripes. You want it in stripes because you want fat, meat, fat. This is super important in the texture of the pasta. Once it's all cut in stripes, you put a little bit of olive oil in a pan. When it's hot, you toss in a piece of chili pepper. I was about to forget it. Of chili pepper, and then you put in the guanciale. Magic then happens. The guanciale, the fat turns translucent, and then it turns into crunchiness, and it is to die for.
When it turned brown, you add a dry white wine in the hot pan. And once that evaporates, you take out the guanciale and you set it aside so the excess oil just drips off, and you add the tomato sauce into the hot pan.
With all the flavors.
With all the flavors. Just a few minutes, you don't have to overcook it. Once that is done, you take out the chili and you put the guanciale back.
Imagine that this is something that you could be preparing while the pasta is cooking. So, literally 10 minutes, not more than that. In the meantime, you put a pot of cold water on the fire. As soon as it boils, you add a little bit of salt. Again, we're gonna be using pecorino cheese. So do not exaggerate with the salt, because pecorino, however, is super flavorful. You don't wanna exceed in that.
For the pasta, you can use spaghetti. We're going to be using rigatoni. So once the water in the pan goes to a boil, you add a little bit of salt, put the pasta in the water. It cooks al dente, which is about 2 minutes less than the time it says on the package. You drain the pasta. You drain the pasta?
You drain the pasta.
You drain the pasta. And you put it into your tomato amatriciana sauce. And you just mix it, and you should be adding some more grated pecorino cheese.
Because that's what you want. Now, don't put the pecorino cheese as soon as you pour the pasta in, because it's too hot and the pecorino could coagulate. You don't want that. So you just wait a while, and then you add more pecorino cheese, even more pecorino cheese if you want, even more pecorino cheese, a little bit of pepper.
And a glass of red wine.
Of course. And a glass of red wine. My hands are all oily, that's why I'm not touching her. And then just enjoy it.
Enjoy. Yeah, because it's your delicious plate of pasta alla matriciana.
Buon appetito.
Grazie. I just remembered that I have guanciale in the fridge. I'm having a matriciana tomorrow.
You see?
Okay. So let's take a couple of questions from the audience. What medicinal use had tomatoes? I only know that they were considered medicinal plants, but I don't remember exactly what.
Medicinal, no, because actually they were considered to be poisonous. They were mostly used as ornaments, and also come natura morta. I don't know how you say that.
Still life.
Still life, yes.
Yes, and actually, because they didn't eat them, a lot of the gardeners, they would actually mix them together, and so we have all these different kind of tomatoes also because they would play around with tomatoes, and they created a lot of different varieties until they discovered they weren't poisonous.
Another question, also from Susan. Rice flavored with cacio e pepe? Don't understand the construction.
Well, it's, the classical supplì is they cook the rice and then they add it with tomato sauce and ragu. Here they just add a whole bunch of pecorino cheese and pepper, and then inside they leave the heart there's no heart in that one. No, just a whole bunch of pecorino, grated pecorino and pepper, like a lot.
Yeah, chefs like to do that, local chefs. There are a few, 2 or 3 local chefs that have really brought the 4 Roman pastas out of the pasta and into other dishes.
And it's actually very, very good. It's unexpectedly delicious, because pecorino is one of those cheeses that you use grated on other dishes. And so inside the rice with the pepper, it's delicious.
Is the crust made with butter? I think it refers to the crostata.
Yes, it is. That is made with, it's a pastry crust.
Yeah. And how are they called? Probably they mean the viciole.
It's the tart is called ricotta e visciole, which is ricotta and this sour cherry that is traditional for.
How is it spelled? Visciole.
Visciole, Visciole.
I'm afraid you can't get them in New York City.
No, but you know, if you can't get a visciole, you can get maybe other types of, but it has to be like not a sweet cherry, just so that it gives that contrast with the ricotta.
Would cranberries work, Vale? Are they bitter?
I
We don't have cranberries here, right?
We don't have cranberries here. No.
No, we don't have cranberries here.
We can. I'll try and let you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
please do. That would be curious to know.
Now, question about the amatriciana, I believe. Are the tomatoes cooked or canned tomatoes?
So the recipe, the original recipe says that you can use or San Marzano. So you start with the tomatoes, the raw tomato, or you can use canned tomatoes. Yes.
Yeah, you can use both.
Both are accepted.
And do Romans finish with olive oil? I think pasta.
Well, okay, so finish with olive oil. Depends on the dish. Depends on the dish. Certain dishes, like you would not add oil on a cacio e pepe. You would not put oil on any of the 4 Roman pastas, like additional oil as an extra. You would add oil to maybe pastas that are dressed with vegetables. That yes, I would add oil everywhere, but no, traditionally no.
I mean, you would add them to fish, to meat as a final touch. And again, if you're, that's a whole other chapter and a whole new world, but there is olive oil and food pairing.
Yes.
Elizabeth tells us that there are sour cherries in the US in season.
Oh,
So
That's great. Yeah.
there's hope.
there's hope.
Yes. Now with all these online, there are several big online Italian food shops, grocery shops that, you know, they do ship, luckily.
Another question about the Jewish cakes. How are they called? There is no particular name, I think, right? Just crostata di visciole.
Crostata, it's called crostata di ricotta e visciole, which is literally translates into the ricotta. It's a sour cherry and ricotta tart.
Have you thought about doing guides of Italian food in New York with suggestions about the authentic and maybe also affordable options? I'm not sure if it means what is available here in New York or no.
No, we actually, you know, living in Rome, we wouldn't have the experience, you know, what ingredients, you know, that you could find or which one would be better than others in New York. We would have to be there for a while, but we could.
We could, you know, it could be an option.
It could be a nice option.
Yes.
Yes, we move to New York and we do that. I would love that.
There are a couple of questions about the calendar. Can you remind everybody the Advent calendar, where they can see it and how they can access it?
You can go on courses.localaromas.com. Let me see if I can copy and paste it in the chats. Let me do that so that from there you will find the local aromas there. I just posted it. That's the link where you can get all of our courses, and there you can find access to the Advent calendar.
In 2 weeks.
Great. We're running almost out of time. I think we should I would like to show again the presentation video because when we played it in the beginning, it didn't have any sound. So that will be our parting
the link. I'm sorry, they say they don't see the link.
Yeah, because let me do it. Aspetta.
But before playing that video, just two quick questions. Someone asked if you can say something in Italian.
Certo. Che cosa di cosa?
Qual è la tua ricetta preferita?
La mia ricetta preferita? Allora, io adoro la gricia. È la mia pasta romana preferita, la gricia, assolutamente. Io sono più da piatti salati, lei è più da dolce.
Io sono più da dolci, sì.
E quindi?
E quindi a me piacciono i dolci semplici, la ciambella fritta, le crostate, il gelato, questi dolci più semplici per la tradizione.
Ho capito.
Anche il carciofo alla giudia, i fiori di zucca fritti con la mozzarella e la ricetta dentro.
Certo, con un bel prosecco.
One last thing, a suggestion for people coming to Rome, hoping soon, where to go, a place to go, which is not necessarily a restaurant. But Benedetta.
So, places to go, obviously.
One place.
One place. That's, well, I would say to go to, have a wonderful supplì. Or no, wait, we talked about supplì before. Pizza bianca romana, warm with mortadella inside. That is one of those experiences that fill your heart.
But
where? Where? Gosh, where?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, you know, they have that. They have it great at Roscioli. But then they opened this little spot, which is one of my favorite sliced pizzas in Rome. They have one now. They have one in Trastevere, and it's called Casa Manco. And it's a family that prepares sliced pizza. It has 100 hours of lievitazione.
Of leaven. It leavens for 100.
100 hours.
No,
so it's just like, oh my gosh. And actually, in our very first video in YouTube,
that's true.
Where we went to have pizza al taglio, the sliced pizza. They also have one at the Mercato in Testaccio, and that is where we went. We went to have their pizza. It's
such
amazing.
a treat.
Yes.
Because our food is simple, it's nothing elaborate, and the magic of good ingredients put together, it just warms your heart. I get emotional.
Cicoria, somebody says that they love
Cicoria, yes.
And
Cicoria.
It's in season now, so it's in season. So actually on Sunday, I'm going to the farmer's market and I get like 3 kilos of cicoria Yes,
and I do the same, and then I come home and then you have to clean it, but then it's wonderful. And then we have it stacked in the freezer because it's magical. The difference between gricia and cacio e pepe, gricia is cacio e pepe plus guanciale.
Wonderful. Well, Benedetta, Valeria, thank you so much for being with us this evening. And we actually need to let you go because it's quite late over there. And again, we're going to play now the presentation video with those beautiful images and sound as well. I'm sure will be waiting for all of us to come visit you in Rome.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that in the meantime, many of our audience will follow you on your YouTube channels and your website. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Paolo. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
For us Italians, food is so much more than just food. It's who we are. It represents our culture and our history, and dare you to touch our recipes because we can get quite dramatic about that.
And there is a reason for this. Up until about 150 years ago, when Italy actually became a country, we were a patchwork of regions, and each region has a very, very strong cultural identity. Italians are very fond of their origins, and this genuine diversity is what we want you to experience when you come to Italy.
Italy is about local food, local dishes, local ingredients, local experiences. And that's why we called our company Local Aromas, because we want to stay true to that genuine diversity that Italy is, and we want you to have the most authentic local experience.
Local Aromas is a family business run by the Bianchini family. I am Benedetta. I am a wine sommelier, an olive oil sommelier, and a professional cheese taster. Tough, I know, but I love what I do.
I am Valeria, and pastry is what I love the most. And I love it so much that I went back to school and I became a trained pastry chef.
I'm Giuliana. I love to cook, and almost everything I know I learned from my grandmother. I've been a full-time mom, and I enjoy to cook for my family and friends.
Thanks to our dad's job, we had the wonderful opportunity to travel the world and live abroad. We grew up in countries like Thailand, Belgium, Venezuela, and Chile.
I'm Riccardo. I work for Alitalia, the Italian Airlines. We lived 18 wonderful years abroad.
At some point, we realized that our passion and knowledge for Italy's food and wine was so strong that we just couldn't keep it to ourselves. So together as a family, we decided to create our own company, Local Aromas.
Everything we know and our passion is reflected in all that we offer. Food tours, wine tastings, olive oil tastings, cooking classes. Remember that there is no such thing as Italian food. Our food is local and you deserve to experience it in the best way possible.
When you join our experiences, you become part of Local Aromas family. We treasure each and every one of you as part of our family.
This is family.
Welcome to Italy.
Welcome to the Bianchini family.
Welcome to the Local Aromas family.